morning, everyone. Super hot topic today, talking about pricing of materials. Obviously, everybody's tired of price increases in 2021. Yet, just a few days ago, almost everyone got price increases from SRS, ABC, Beacon, and looks like in September we're going to get another price increase of 15% first. Please make sure you comment that you can hear me okay and give it a like. It always helps. And I do want to hear your opinion. What do you think? We're going to talk about conspiracies and we're going to talk about actual facts, what's happening in the marketplace. If you guys can hear me okay, give it a like, comment, and we're about to get started. Well, good, Igor? Can you hear me? All right, Igor. Okay. All right, guys. Let's get it going. So first thing first, let's talk about plywood cost. Looks like we have Nate Schwippe in the house, Jason Harley, all our roofing inside superstars. So first thing first, I want to talk about plywood cost. I travel a lot, pretty much almost every week. I go somewhere. Just came back from California. In California, I've seen the plywood, I believe, at $68. Actually, not as high as I expected. Some other markets I've seen as low as 50. So it's definitely going down. I talk to a lot of people. I talk about to high executives. I talk about a lot with people who run supply houses. I talk about national buyers, one of the biggest roofing companies in the country, people who do 40, 50 million. And those people obviously in the closer to suppliers and manufacturers than the rest of us small guys. But I do have access and I get a lot of information. So this is my speculation. This is my opinion. Obviously, you've seen some interviews. You've seen interview with Dan Tinker from SRS. I'm going to share some insights about that interview as well later on. But first, let's talk about plywood. Uh, One of the most interesting insight that I got and I want to share with you is one of the main reasons we don't see decline in pricing yet on the plywood is the fear of returns. You need to understand that the biggest buyers of plywood, of lumber in general, are your big box stores. It's orange store named Home Depot. It's a blue store named Lowe's. So those have been selling tons of plywoods. I believe they do sell more plywood than even your Beacon, SRS, and other roofing supply specialty stores combined. So what's happening is Home Depot and Lowe's, they have very big the big in the returns. If you have purchased, let's say, 5 pallets, 10 pallets 3 months ago at the price of $80, and if they would drop the price today to, let's say, $50, that's a $30 price. If you actually look at their earnings, they all reported record-breaking earnings, which is really good to their investors, really good um, to the net profit margins of those companies. Now, if they would go and lower the prices today, what would happen is all the contractors who stock up those plywood costs, nothing would stop you go back to Home Depot, return, let's say you have 3 pallets at $70 a piece, you would return it. Smart business decision. Nothing they could do about it. You can say you purchased it for the project, and the way those stores operate, they would have to honor it. Now, what would it happen on the back end that actually will destroy their profit margins from previous quarters? So those stores have to be extremely, extremely careful about all their lumbers that they have sold. So enough time has to pass when they don't have that risk of massive returns. Because a lot of contractors who did have cash on hands have been reacting to these price increases, every week, and we did not know when it's going to stop. So it started, doubling, tripling, quadrupling. So when the price was $20 or $30, a lot of contractors went and before it's too late, start buying pallets. So and they've been sitting on it. Now you can actually go and return for that price, and they keep buying when it was 50 and 60 and 70. So those stores have to be super, super careful about lowering it because again, the risk of return is real. So if you would sell something at $80 a piece, and 2 months later you would reduce prices to $20 a piece, but your return policy says that you can return it, what would happen to that store? You have to, like, it was good business for you, but now you also have to honor, you can't just exclude the lumber returns from your policy just because it's good for the business. You have to do business the way you've been doing business. Otherwise, you're going to ruin your reputation. You're going to ruin the relationship with the contractors. You're going to have a lot of disputes. Nobody wants that. So what they're doing is they're playing it safe. Now, that's one of the main reasons about lumber cost, because supply and demand, I mean, at the peak, the price will go down. It is going down, but rather slow. It could go down faster, but that's one of the main drivers from big box stores. Obviously, there's other factors. We're not going to beat the dead horse, but you will see prices go down. Do I think the price will go down below $10 like we used to see it? No. And here's why. One of the reasons plywood went up, because for years I would actually argue that plywood OSB products were underpriced. I mean, you could buy. I mean, when you have $6, $7 per sheet, 4x8, it was dirt cheap. It was popular, and I think the price increases needed in that space. Obviously, it's commodity business and stuff like that, but it was it was too cheap. So I would say, if I would have to guesstimate as a contractor how much were willing to pay, 5 years ago, I would say $20 probably a reasonable price. So if plywood would be $20, like slightly more, we would be still buying it. And as a matter of fact, this year showed that we will pay even $80 because it's commodity product. You have to have it. You cannot build houses without it. It was cheap, but now it's expensive, and we still buy it. And I think it was dirt cheap. It could increase the price. But what we will see happening now, if the price will not go all the way down, we will see other products to replace OSB. I mean, we do have um, some other alternatives. Maybe even we will go back to brick and mortar houses if prices of lumber are going to keep increasing, because that's also a concern. One of the reasons we've been building homes the way we've been building, because it was cost effective. If cost effectiveness is not going, is not argument anymore, it's not in a consideration. Now we 3D print our houses with a mortar. So that's another way to build it. So if you have, one option is 3D build, kind of with the CNC machine, for example, out of concrete, and it's the same cost as building it out of lumber. Obviously, it's a great alternative, and I think more and more people will look into those alternatives. So that's as far as a plywood cost and lumber cost in general. Now, let's talk about roofing industry specific. You guys just have received, and comment plus, please like this video if you're tired of price increases. Some people argue with me and they say that price increasing is good for the industry. It's okay for the prices go up. Like or dislike. If you don't like it, dislike it. If you like it. I want to hear from you. I want to comment. But this year we've been getting so many price increases, and I want to talk about it. Number one, I don't think it's the worst thing that's happening to us, but what's really happening is contractors are being stupid and suppliers and manufacturers are being extremely smart. And the point of this video is not to stir the pot, but to give you real good ideas and tips which you as a contractor can do in this situation. I travel, I consult a lot of contractors, and I see guys who are doing it right and guys who are doing it wrong. I'll give you an example. A couple of years ago, about 3 years ago, I traveled to a contractor in Chicago. He was charging 325 a square, and he was trying to convince me that in Chicago market that's what you get. Actually, he was about 300. For 10 years in business, the guy was charging 300 to 325 on the high end. And when I asked him why is the case, he said, well, that's what everybody's charging. He's been in business for 10 years. Not even once he increased his price. Think about it. Think about your cell phone. How much were you paying for iPhone 5 years ago? Probably under 500 bucks. How much you paying for a good iPhone today? $1,000. How do you remember when trucks used to be under $30,000? I remember I bought purchased brand new Nissan Titan. I believe it was 2012. I paid for the Titan, Nissan Titan, $34,000. How much Nissan Titan runs today? I remember where you can buy a brand new minivan because it's the best car in the market for about $30,000, 32. I'm talking about top of the line being 35,000. You know how much last minivan I purchased? 50 grand. Everything went up over the last 5 years or so, except roofers and contractors who think that they grandfathered in and they have to keep their pricing. So tell me this, why Home Depot, suppliers, everybody else are increasing their prices and you don't? Yesterday, I took my kids to dentist and we used to pay, just a couple months ago, we were paying like $150 for exam. I have two kids. My wife took two kids for um, exam a couple months ago and paid 120. I paid 175 per kid yesterday. And when I asked about pricing, my wife told me it should be 150. And I asked receptionist why it's 175. She said our prices went up. Guess what? My kids' health is important. I'm not going to turn around. I'm not going to negotiate. I'm not going to offend them saying, no, I'm not going to pay the price. I'm going to pay the price. So, question to you, if you're the contractor, what's the last time you have increased your price? Why are you looking at the competition? And let me get down to what's happening between SRS, Beacon, and ABC Supply. And I'm going to answer this question. If you would ask me this question 6 months ago, do I believe in the price fixing in the roofing industry? The answer would be yes, I do, because I used to believe that. Because when you receive those letters, the first thing you want to think as a rational person who with a brain that there's a conspiracy. How can it be that within 24 to 48 hours I'm getting all of these letters? Feels like everybody's against you and feels like people or companies just making those decisions behind closed doors and charging because they can. That was my thought. Dan Tinker helped me understand, CEO of SRS and few other people too in the industry. You've seen a lot of them on this interviews, people who used to work for companies like Roof Depot and stuff like that. Today, my answer is different, but I want you to comment. Do you believe in conspiracy theory? Do you believe in price fixing between manufacturers and suppliers? I want to hear from you before I give you my answer. Please comment. Don't be afraid. If you believe in it, like I said, I was that guy. So if you believe in price fixing in manufacturing world, that shingle manufacturers, GF, Owens Corning, Tamco, fix their price, I want to hear from you. If you don't believe, say, I don't believe in price fixing, but I'm going to give you my honest opinion. This is what I think today. So here's my answer, but I do want to, the two biggest competitors of mine, let me read this comment really quick. Jeremy Olson says, two biggest competitors of mine, both established in the 1970s, hundreds of reviews online, charging so low, I can't see how they can make a profit. Happens all the time, and I'll get back to this question a little bit. Brett Whitman says, I increase every month. If material goes up, my price goes up. I have margins to make. Justin Jean says, 100% he believes in price fixing. Richard Turner says, I believe it. It has been happening for the last 20 years. Pedro Torres says, yes, just BC. This was the perfect time of doing it. Bojonglers says, they definitely all play off each other. Hardy is being the worst at the moment, completely eliminating product lines and forcing product changes. So let me answer this question. Do I believe in price conspiracies? Do I believe that ABC Supply, Beacon, SRS fix their prices? Do I believe that Owens Corning, JF, and others fix theirs? For years, I could not understand it. For years, I was thinking like, how this company who should be fierce competitors still kind of like each other, buy from each other. A lot of manufacturers, they actually buy like one sells to another. Like if you look at the markets like underlayments, they actually buy from each other a lot of stuff. A lot of manufacturers buy like granules from 3M, stuff like that. So they are definitely in commodity business and they depend on each other. Now, that being said, I think what really been happening, manufacturers are super smart and they have leverage. And manufacturers are doing today exactly what any contractor would do in their place. Like we blame them, we hate it because it cuts our bottom line, right? So nobody likes to pay more for the same stuff you were paying yesterday. Nobody likes price increase on anything. That's just the human nature. But if you're the contractor, answer this question. If you know you're going to sell the job 100%, like you're going to go bid on the job, do the work, and you know you're going to guarantee to get paid, and you know there's no competition, or like no matter what the price is, you're going to sell it, would you increase your price? Absolutely. So I'm not going to tell you who told me this, but today I actually talked to a few people about it, and I'm 100% believing it now. What's happening, in my opinion, and how people explain it to me at the highest level, is manufacturers are waiting to see who's gonna, like, they're all ready for next price increase. Why? Because it's basic market economy. Because we live in the United States, because it's supply and demand at its best. It's not regulated. If there's a huge supply, if there's huge demand and not enough supply, the price has to go up. We all do it. You do it. If you're going to have 6-month backlog and you cannot take more jobs, the first thing as a contractor you should do, and smart thing to do, is increase your price. This is exactly what suppliers are doing. Demand is so big for their products, they can't make it fast enough. Right now, we have this shortage everywhere. So they know no matter what they produce, they're going to sell. So it's a smart decision for them to increase the price. And someone explained this to me. They say they're pretty much all ready for the next price increase because it has to happen. Nobody wants to go first. So GF don't want to go first. Owens Corning doesn't want to go first, but someone have to go first. And the way this person explained it to me, he said, whoever goes first, it's set in stone. They're all going to go at it. So the same goes with the ABC supply. It makes no sense for ABC supply to be cheaper than Beacon because they all buy from the same. It is closed industry. They're not necessarily friends, but they depend on each other. Love it or hate it, that mat that they produce, there's one manufacturer that sells to others. There is asphalt supply that they all rely on. There is granule market, 3M granules, so their granules, it's also closed market. So they all in the same industry, they all have the same demand. Doesn't not matter if it's ICO, Owens Corning, or Malarkey, they're gonna sell wherever the shingles they're gonna produce. So when you have that kind of demand, you have to be smart. And if guy next door increases the price, you're gonna do the same thing. So that's my understanding of quick ladders within 24 to 48 hours. I no longer believe that, SRS, Beacon, and ABC is in one room trying to fix their pricing, and then in this room you have 7, 8 other manufacturers trying to do the same. I believe that they're all ready. Also think about this. They're driven by investors. They're driven by not sponsors, by their executives too. They have to make profit. And they also have a lot of data to look at. So what do you do when you look at the data as a big company and you have bigger demand? No matter what you're going to produce, you're going to sell it. You might as well increase price, right? Like you might it might as well be profitable. And by the way, we, the contractors, do the same identical thing. So don't blame them to be greedy, because I see a lot of comments like, oh, they're greedy. They're not greedy. They're just smart. And if you want to maybe change the business, go start asphalt factory, start producing shingles, or start importing product, help with the supply. It will eventually help with the pricing to go down, because the more competition, the lower the prices. So those manufacturers play off each other. Someone goes first, others follow. So today, I believe in it. Why do I believe in it? I also know how manufacturers regulated. Um, it is a regulated industry, and it's illegal because if you're publicly traded company, it's illegal to fix the pricing. So the risk is so high to do something behind closed doors. Do they talk to each other? Yes, but it's not the way how we contractors think. They don't have a meeting about next price increase. But I'm pretty sure a few CEOs at the top, they understand. Just like back in the day, you know, Steve Jobs and what was the other guy, Macintosh guy, uh, the richest man on earth. Jeremiah, what the richest man on earth? What's his name? No, no, not Tim Cook. Macintosh guy. No, Windows guy. Bill Gates. So Bill Gates and Steve Jobs. Do you think Steve Jobs and Bill Gates did not talk about computer markets? They were enemies in a sense. They were competitors, but you actually have seen them on the stage many times. The same happening in our industry. ABC Supply, Beacon, SRS, they're all super smart. They understand that we have a bottleneck and we have to go through them. We don't have many options. So they use leverage because they're smart business people. And I promise you, you would do the same thing. And what's happening with in the plywood and lumber market, it's pretty much identical. You have this huge demand. Now, let's talk about roofers. I want to give you a couple pointers. Even in these comments here, I see people already saying that they cannot increase prices because competition is too low. And I see people who increase prices all the time. So let's talk about this. What you can do, like what kind of lessons we can learn. Lesson number one, every time you get a price increase, you should prepare some kind of like message, mass email, press release, if you will, to all your clients. So like right now, you guys already have price increases uh, announcements letters for September. If you don't have a draft for your letter to your clients, because I remember when I was running my roofing business, at the time I remember at the peak we would have $5 to $7 million worth of open estimates. That's a lot of estimates. I mean, some of them would be like 1 or 2 years old. People get a bid from you, they're not ready yet, or they want to sell the house, or they want to do it like next summer, that kind of deal. But $5-7 million worth of emails, worth of open estimates. And every time I would get a price increase, or every time I needed a sale, I would go back to my list, let's say 300 open estimates, and I would send them nice drafted email saying, hey, we just got notification from our suppliers that prices will go 5 to 10% and we will have to adjust it. So if you want to start your job, you can start it now before September 10 because price will go up. Smart decision, the same thing as suppliers are doing. So they see around like, okay, this guy sent a letter, we already have a draft. So you as a contractor also have to have those drafts, also have to have that communication with the homeowner about the price. Should help you build the urgency, do the project now, because you are running against time. You have to communicate to your people. We actually have it in our presentation that your competition is not your competition. Your competition is time. To do your roof today will be cheaper than to do it 3 years from now or a year from now, because everything going up, especially in construction industry. And all the news media hype that we have today should help you with that message. You will not surprise anyone today about lumber cost, but they don't know what's happening in the roofing industry unless you tell them. So if you want to be smart, prepare that letter. Another one too is uh, you have to keep increases your prices. You have to become better. If you and To me personally, pricing always been head game. It's what's between your ears. It's do you believe what you worth? And every single business I ever owned, I always increase my prices. If I believe I become better at something, like at Roofing Insights, I'm becoming better at this. My videos getting better. When I started, like even in my school, my mentorship program, I started, I think it was like $8.99, and then $1,000, then $1,500, and then $2,000. Guess what? There's always going to be a buyer. If you're a better influencer, if you make better quality videos, today I can take a company and put them on the first page of Google within 24 hours after I publish that video. Guaranteed results. If you look at every company that we visit it. You can see high quality videos on the first page of Google after you Google their name. That's the result. I'm going to increase my price. But so many people, they struggle with it. Back in the day when I was running roofing business, I started with doing repairs for $100, and I would sell 20, 30 repairs a month. Then I increased it to $200 per repair, minimum service call. 20, 30 repairs per month. Then $300, 20, 30 repairs per month. $400 repair, 20, 30 repairs per month. 650. At the end, my average repair ticket was $1,500. I'm telling you, price does not matter when you're confident that you're the best. I don't care what competition is doing. They called you, you are there, sell the job. So you're going to have always two types of contractors. Contractors who are grandfathered in, don't believe in themselves, don't believe that they can rise. Listen, I travel all over the country. Just came back from California. I've been in Indianapolis in the last 3 weeks. I've been in Texas, everywhere. In every market, you're gonna see contractors who charges 275 to 325. Bottom of the. By the way, in 2012, the same thing was happening in Minnesota, 275 to 325. And then in the same market, you're gonna have a contractors who charge, $500 a square, $600, $700 a square, and then you have few very aggressive companies who will go above 1,000, who will not leave the house until they sign the contract. So every market has all companies, all the competition, but the difference between a guy who's charging 275 and the guy who's sending letter to his homeowners and increases pricing every single time, the difference is in the head, in the mentality, nothing to do with the market. And you guys have to learn that. Become friends with the competition in your market, with the good guys. If you don't have at least 10 local players that you have on a speed dial, listen, in my market in Minnesota, I have at least 10 business owners that, if I have mental breakdown about my business, if I have a theft, I remember like someone would steal my trailer, and all the good guys in the industry, they would support me. They're like, Dmisha, feel sorry about it. If something is happening like to your business, to yourself, you should have good guys in your market who you can go out with. Yes, there are competition, but you have to learn what the big smart guys are doing. You have to become Steve Jobs, who was a friend. Why Bill Gates? Keep forgetting Bill Gates' name. Bill Gates and Steve Jobs. No matter how competitive you are, you have to be open enough to sit at the table with other guy. That's the only way you will be able to keep increases prices. Contractors have to learn from suppliers and from manufacturers. You know what our biggest problem is? And I'm talking about myself today. This is my biggest problem. This is roofing industry biggest problem. This is, by the way, and I'm going to speak it for the first time publicly. This is the reason I canceled my take on Entel and Delmatic. Our biggest problem is we fight with each other. We have a common enemy, which would be insurance companies, like few other things. But we keep fighting each other. I'm talking about myself. Now, we should be calling out contractors who steal. We should be calling out contractors who do some really shitty stuff to the homeowners. Like the worst of the worst practices have to be exposed. But we should stop fighting each other. That's why I really wanted, from the bottom of my heart, I wanted to challenge Anton Delmatica and share his real story. And one of my mentors called me and convinced me that it's not a good idea. Why? Because when we are divided, when we hate on each other, when we take each other yard signs, that's such a low behavior. You need to understand how consumers look at us. Consumers actually play it against us. Oh, other guy said he's gonna do that. We should start taking pride in our price. When you go and you know that, hey, I'm gonna charge them, let's say $425, because I know my competition gonna do the same. I never have a problem with losing the jobs to good competition. Like if I know I lost a job to good player, I have to know two things. Number one, that good player will take care of them. And number two, I have to know that he's not the cheapest price, not waiving deductible, not giving them $5,000 to put yard signs in his grass. That's what I'm talking about. You can only accomplish them when you actually make friends with the good players in your market. And this is the lesson from top of this industry. This is the lesson from suppliers and manufacturers. Go and learn from them. They might not fix in the prices, but they know they're playing by the rules. And I believe they're playing by the rules. Do they violate it sometimes? Probably. You probably violated a lot of rules. I mean, I don't think I've ever met a contractor who never waived at least one deductible under some circumstances. I mean, you can call it all out, but we all done mistakes. We all violated rules. We all have jobs where we don't use harnesses or we just close eyes on it. We know it's illegal. We know OSHA is watching, but a lot of times we are looking away. The same thing, no difference happening in the top of the industry. Yes, they know they should not be fixing the prices. Do they talk to each other about it? I'm pretty sure they do. I'm pretty sure there's some type of conversation about supply and demand on the highest level. We can speculate, but it's no difference than you talking to your competition about his pricing. We just need to know that your competition is as good as clean, and if you lose business to them, it's not end of the world. We just have to drive out scumbags from this industry, guys who have no pride, don't back up their warranties, don't raise their prices. Those are the enemies of ours. Those guys will be better off working for good companies. We have to raise the standard. We have to we have to unite, raise our prices. Now, what can we do about price increases? Unfortunately, not as much, but believe it or not, video like this can make a lot of change. Like if you guys start speaking about it, if we start buying different products, because here's what I think is going to happen. If asphalt shingles is going to keep growing, sooner or later, we're going to have a good alternative product that will challenge that. Like, as a matter of fact, metal was challenging, we've been increasing in sales. You have metal products, you have synthetics. If we're going to have good synthetic option that's actually believable with a good warranty and a good price and installs just like asphalt, I believe that asphalt sooner or later will start going down because it cannot compare to something like F-Wave. The only problem for synthetics today is the cost. So when asphalt manufacturers can keep increasing their prices, but I'm telling you, they're gonna do it 10 more times, and the price is gonna be too close to something like Da Vinci or F-Wave, then it'll be no brainer for us, the contractors, stop buying something else. And that's going to be the end of it. And the price will have to start going down because, again, supply and demand works both ways. And you guys can vote for the better products because asphalt shingle is a good product for the price. Once the price is too high, they'll have to go down. I'm going to read some comments, and I think I'm done for today. Hopefully you guys found this topic important today. A lot of comments. I want to go through all of them. I recognize some of you rock stars here. Nate Schweepy, good to see you, brother. Hope to see you guys in Las Vegas next week. So we are still going. I know mask mandate is still in place again, but we have big 20 by 20 booth. We're going to have some kind of fittest competition there. We'll give away a couple $1,000s from our booth. It'll be probably holding shingle challenge. Just come say hi. We're actually sharing booth with the Hook Agency, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Hope to see you guys in Las Vegas. Maurice is here. Good to see you, brother. Blair said, I feel prices will never go down. We already paid the price increases, so why would they drop it? I think they will. Again, it's supply and demand. Sooner or later, if they have a decline in sales, if they have too much product and not sitting on the shelves, they'll have to produce less. I think price will go down eventually, especially if we have good other products, because nobody wants to lose market share. And by the way, one of the reasons to go to Las Vegas next week is to see what else is out there. I work right now with like 3 or 4 metal companies. You're talking about like Teal Core, Worth House is another brand which we're about to drop the video about them. So there's cool options. Now again, they're double or triple the price of an asphalt, but the moment they drop their price or asphalt becomes too expensive, and it's happening now. Every price increase, they're actually jeopardizing that price difference, and contractors will start installing something else. And by the way, that's my recommendation too. Become a specialty contractor. I think riches are in the niches. If you can become honestly number one metal guy in your town with 1 or 2 competition, like competitors doing it. Like I guarantee you, it will work, because in most markets you have these contractors who only know how to install shingles, and you have very few who actually specializes in metal, or it can be rubber, it could be whatever. But if you specialize in one, you can actually do 3, 4, 5 million dollars a year just in that one product. Still do some other stuff, but it's much easier to build metal company these days than asphalt company. Competition is low, advertising is cheap, way cheaper, and overall just much faster to scale. So that's actually advice to you guys as well today. Richard Turner in the house. Good morning, brother. Down to $25 a sheet here now. Imagine that. South Dakota, Rapid City, $25. Probably the cheapest one I've seen. Thank you for sharing. Paul Saharsky said 23.62 for half-an-inch plywood, which just came down last week. Wow. Last week I was in California and the price was still 60. So $23. Thank you for sharing. It helps our margins out. Add your cost and pass your cost and add your profit. Absolutely. Eric Grant says you can't increase your prices when competition is reluctant to do so. Don't agree with it. Yes, you can. Absolutely can. Your competition will be out of business if they don't increase their prices. And if your competition is grandfathered in the prices from 10 years ago, they're not your competition anyway. You have to figure out who you are. You have, like, if you're Mercedes-Benz, you're Mercedes-Benz. You don't compete with, like Hyundai. And even companies like Hyundai, they have to increase their price. Look at other markets. Look what's happening with the stuff around you. Like burgers today are way more than they used to be. I mean, people say that many industries are cutthroat, like restaurant business is very hard. I mean, when you complain about your prices, look how many restaurants and fast food restaurants around the corner at every exit. Now, they all racing to the bottom in a sense in advertising, but they're all super profitable because they all increase their prices. You have to be smart. And people who don't, they're going to close their doors. So it can be done even if your competition not increasing. Smart competition will always increase pricing. If you have 7, here's what you're telling me. If you have 7 price increases in 1 year and you're not increases your prices, you become a poorer. Like you're running down, like you telling me that you are willing to pay cut for the same amount of work. With that mentality, might as well just go out of business. If you're telling me you cannot charge today what you charged 2 years ago and your price went way up, you're the contractor. What's the definition of the contractor? You are contracting labor and material, cost to the homeowner. You come to the homeowner, say, I'm going to do your roof, I'm going to buy materials, I'm going to provide the labor. And if material is going up, how can you tell me you cannot increase your prices? This is why I did this video, because there's so many guys out there have this mentality. And Eric, and I don't know you personally, but I know exactly what you're talking about. Here in Minneapolis, we used to have JF Master Elite guys back in 2015 who were so cheap. Like I was thinking, how in the heck are they doing it? Like, this is just wrong mentality. You're the contractor. Your cost goes up, your price goes up. And if other contractor is not understanding it, you're making money. You know what you can do when you make money? You can advertise more, you can hire better talent, and that's how you're going to beat that competition who's not doing it. Because If you, let's say you're doing $1 million a year and you're pocketing 100K, with the 7 price increases, instead of making 100K, you're going to be making 70K. Well, I'm going to increase my price and still going to do 100K. I just have $30,000 that you don't have. What can I do? I can pay bonus to hire people. I can advertise more. I'm more competitive because I increase my price. You cannot be in business if you're not profitable, and your profitability cannot keep going down because of the external sources. Those price increases should increase your prices as well. Two biggest competitors of mine, both established in the 70s, hundreds of reviews online, charging too so low. I can't see how they make profit. And it doesn't matter how they make profit, you still can compete with them and you cannot count their dollars. But I have seen big companies going out of business. I'm talking about 20, 30, $40 million. Here's another problem. Big companies, what we call big reviews and stuff like that, they're running Ponzi schemes. You stop the sales, they're gonna crumble. I've seen in my lifetime $100 million companies goes out of business. And more companies will go out of business. We have this picture going online, and I'll rant about it. Quick Roofing out of Texas. They're paying $250 for Facebook reviews, $250 for Yelp reviews, for Google reviews. They pay $7,000 to put a yard sign in the front for like 300 days. There's so many things wrong with that poster, with that estimate to the homeowner. It deserves a separate video on Roofing Insights channel, and it will be. It's already scripted and production. That's what's wrong with our industry. Just because you're the biggest player does not mean that you're gonna live this eternal life. Sooner or later, you will crumble. You will close your doors. So two biggest competitors of mine, both established in 70s, hundreds of reviews, charging so low. I'm telling you, you don't know if they're gonna make it through 2021. You don't know what's gonna happen if the sales will stop. Maybe they've been running Ponzi schemes. Maybe they have millions of dollars in loans. We don't know what we don't know. You cannot build your business, your empire based on what others are doing. You don't know their books. And if you would know, you would change your ways, because you have to do what makes sense to you. Reverse engineer your success. Now, figure it out. Maybe they're buying in bulk. Maybe, I mean, there's ways to spy on your competition, but you probably have the same supplier. You probably have the same people. I mean, come on, figure it out. Talk to someone, because you will find your answers. Brett Whitman says, I increase every month. Already read that one. They definitely all play with each other. Hardy's being the worst at the moment. Let me see. Joe Hamstra says he believes in price fixing. Quincy Barrett says, I don't believe in price fixing. I believe contractors can't sell, so they are afraid to ask for their future true value. I believe it's a really good statement, Quincy. A lot of contractors are struggling, and I feel bad for the contractors. Like yesterday, we have a big conversation what's happening in Texas, and with all the yard signs still, it's competitive market, no question asked. But what's happening is you have all these contractors who just fight each other. They feel like they have to eat deductible in one or another shape or form. I mean, you're in sales. If you have to eat deductible, like Quincy's saying here, they're afraid to ask for their true value. I mean, you selling the roof for the price of deductible. You selling $25,000 job for the price of 5,000. I mean, don't you have a pride? Go home, read a couple books, take 1 week off. This is the problem that you're solving. I have to sell this roof and I'm going to charge this amount. How can I do it? Learn it, figure it out. Because even in this thread, I hear it over and over and over again. Everybody is charging too low. Everybody is doing like, listen, if you can't compete, get out of business. But if you're compromising your integrity, if you're compromising your quality, your standards, because what other people are doing, listen, in my space, like I'm in space of mentorship and whatever the roofing insights is, I'm an influencer. You know how many shitty marketers in my space? How many people will take your money, will not deliver shit to you? I know right now I can come up with the offer today, like Joshua Wexman special, $2,500, and I can promise you mountains, and I can raise probably $1 million and close the door. So what? Everybody's doing it, right? All the marketers are doing. All the companies charging $5,000 a month for the website, for SEO packages. Don't do crap. Let me become one of them because everybody's doing. No, it's hard. Like, we charge, what do we charge? $1,500 to travel to company. Do you think we're making money in it by the time we do airfare and everything? No, but I believe in what I do. I will increase my price when I believe my value went up. You increase your price when your cost goes up, or you've been in business long enough, or you just have better reputation now. By the time you're 10 years in business, you should be top leader, and top leader should not charge what brand new companies are charging. You can demand lower prices from your manufacturers, from your suppliers. You can negotiate. You have a leverage in business after 10 years. But the point is, if you don't understand your value, you should be out of it. Just leave. If you're in business and you're only looking what competition is doing, you should not be in business. I'll share a story with you. It's actually one of the dumbest thing that I've seen in sports. uh, I'm a CrossFit fanatic. I love CrossFit, and in the CrossFit, we don't compete with others. We actually cheer for each other. This the most amazing culture of any sport, actually, in a CrossFit. You will. That's the only sport that I know that you can be the last guy on the floor, and you're gonna have all your competitors cheering for you to finish it. You know why? Because in CrossFit, it's you against you. You giving it best effort, and this. But years ago, we have champion Rich Froning. He just won CrossFit Games. We have another guy who was Jason Kalipa out of California, and he was competing with him. So he wanted to go for the first place. He created this T-shirt, and this is what I feel roofers are doing these days. This is how dumb we are. He created this T-shirt. What Rich is doing now. So instead of training, instead of working on his business and on his body, on his weaknesses, he literally created this movement. What Rich is doing, he wanted to beat Rich Froning so bad, and he never did. Rich Froning won CrossFit Games 4 times and retired. He could beat him in one or two workouts. So in a CrossFit, you have to be good overall. You cannot have holes in your game. You cannot just lift heavy. You have to run fast. You have to be good at long workouts, short workouts. You have to be good at gymnastics and stuff. So, like, I know my weaknesses in CrossFit. If I cannot do bar muscle ups or ring muscle ups, I have to go and work on it. And I don't care what my competition is. If my competition is good at them, good for them. But right now, I'm working on my snatch. That's my weaknesses. I have to get 225 this year, and I have to get 275 in 3 years. That's my freaking goal. And I don't care where competition is. So roofers, we're the same way in so many ways. We look at, okay, my competition is charging, 315. How can I compete with them? You don't have to. You figure out your way of doing business. I have companies right now who are charging $500 and $300 in the same market, and I go to both of their offices, and $300 square company tells me that's what competition is doing, and $500 square company tells me that they're too cheap. They have to raise their prices. Blows my mind every single time. Every market is competitive. You just have to stop looking what others are doing. Don't tell me everybody waives deductibles. Not everyone. There's so many companies who would not do it. You know why you waive deductible? Because you suck at what you do. Because you look at the competition, what Rich is doing. That's not your business what Rich is doing. Rich might be doing freaking drugs and might be putting something in his blood, and he's going to be banned from competition. But if you focus on him and his performance and not on you, I know my weakness at this game. Like today, I focus on me. I don't care what Delmedica is doing. I don't care what Lee Haight is doing. I don't care what anybody else is doing. I don't watch other people's videos because I don't want that to affect my game. I'm a YouTuber and I create my content. That's why I'm trying not to watch my competition content because it will mess up my brain. And it will mess up your brain if you're too focused to what your competition is doing. Vinko says fixing would be the right thing to do. What the odds probably to fixing prices. I don't mind increases. Give me an excuse to raise my price. That's a really good mentality right there. I don't mind price increases. Give me an excuse. Again, you have to be ready for it. This is great mentality. They send you price increase. I would have a letter today ready to go. Like, all right, one more, and send it to all your existing customers who you already have open estimate who did not sign because you have them. You know, in roofing school, we teach that. We teach that you can go to QuickBooks and filter all the pending estimates, and within seconds, I can send custom message to all pending estimates. You should be able to do it from your CRM, from your QuickBooks. If you don't know how to do it, call me like today, tomorrow, whatever. Go to roofing school, sign up. I'll teach you how to do it. It's one skill that you have to have, how to follow up with all your previous existing and potential customers just like that. Takes minutes. CertainTeed just stopped production for 3-tab. They're like 10 years behind. That should be way in the past. Every other manufacturer goes up in their 3-tab price. Conspiracies or supply demand? Our manufacturers going away from 3-tab. They should go away from 3-tab. The problem is with the 3-tab, you still have repairs. Every market is different. Like in my market, 3-tab is dead, but somewhere in Alabama, still might be the case. Again, you guys are in control. If we're the contractors, stop buying 3-tab, nobody going to be making them. If we refuse, like if roofers unite tomorrow and say, all right, here's the pledge, 10,000 contractors sign it, no more 3-tabs, refusing to do it, bad product, ban, they're going to stop producing it. But what are we doing about it? If you keep buying it, they're going to keep making it. Supply and demand. Restaurants are easy to see what your competitions are doing. You just grab a menu. With roofing, it's harder to find out, so you don't want to jump the gun and be the highest. Here's the thing. Great point. I'm going to say this. And there's an argument going around. I teach people to be as transparent as a business owner as it possibly can be. Throw your prices on the internet. Just be all there. Like, teach people how a roof costs. And people like, when roofers hear, like, were you kidding me? I cannot talk about my pricing. Listen, I don't want to offend your feelings right now, but if you think people don't know how much you're charging, you're delusional. Like, I travel everywhere. Like, everybody knows everything. In the roofing industry, everybody knows everything. People get 5, 10. Like, listen, I can set up tomorrow a house, and I can, like, if I want to move to Dallas and I want to study the market, I'll rent a house, I'll hire actor of Craigslist for $200, and I'll get 10 estimates. And within 2 hours, that will be or 20 or 30 or 50 estimates. And within 2 hours, I'll have the full market research in front of me. One of the things we do here at Roofing Insights, people actually send us estimates from their contractors, and we help them to pick the right contractors, in our opinion. You will be amazed how close the estimates actually are. It doesn't matter if it's California, Florida. I mean, you always will have one guy who's just shooting for the moon. You always have Chuck in the truck, hand reading estimates, and you have your average deals. If you think that people don't know what you're doing, you're delusional. Everybody knows everything. Now, there's a common practices. You have to identify yourself. What kind of contractor are you? Are you Chuck in the truck? Here's the definition of Chuck in the truck. Chuck in the truck looks aside. He watches what everybody's doing, and he's trying to be right below it. That's race to the bottom. That's the guy who will never increase the price in 10 years. He doesn't have a business. He has a full-time job, and I don't blame him. Good living, but it's a choice that guy made. Then there's a middle tier of contractors who evolve, who study. They're good guys. They work hard. They're skeptical. They don't always believe in themselves. They grow super slow. Then there's a higher end of the contractors. Those guys, they hire mentors. They spend on marketing. They take risks. They increase their prices. They become better. And eventually, they race to the top. And then there's comebacks. There's pushers. There are people who don't care about anybody's feeling. They don't care about their warranties. They just go there and they hard closing people. You identify yourself with one of those. Who do you want to be? I've seen too many people who will go in with a smile on their face and will charge $1,500, old lady who barely can afford it, to remove one shingle. If you can sleep at night doing that, you can. In the roofing industry, you can. And a lot of people do. If you feel like you can charge $1,500 a square just because you can, it's your choice. I couldn't do it. I could not be the highest guy. I could not be overpriced. I want to be the high. I want to be profitable. I want to have plenty of money to do everything I want to do. But I don't. I never wanted to be the highest. I never wanted to be the lowest. I wanted to be slightly above my good competition or with them. And those 4 tiers. Think about what kind of contractors are you. I have to go. Have to finish this really quick. It is regulated, fair competition law, consumer have protections. Yes, they do, Trisha. I so believe in price fixing, says Josh Pintner, but I also think there are other factors at work. One is inflation. You can't print an unlimited money supply with prices increases across the board. We'll have to wait and see what economy says. I mean, I'm not an economist. There's been so many predictions about it. Time will show. Time will show. They don't depend, they compete. Deeper pockets or best poised to take the greatest risk goes first. Um, Tricia says the legal departments are in fact doing that, sitting in a room, conjuring up with the marketing sales teams, and then telling the CEO what they can get away with. I should know. And those legal teams use outside legal teams to keep separation and lower liability, but they are working together to get what happens behind closed doors to be plausibly fair. Good feedback, Bill Gates. Thank you. I can't remember Bill Gates' name for some reason. The price has been artificially fixed is the price of the dollar. Cataclysmic inflation has been avoided for years by our reaching global economy with the trade of our currency. Heath Gover says, Gover. In other words, we exported our inflation and the cows are all coming home to roost. Heath Gover, amen. Yes, great point, by the way, great point. Such a great topic, Dmitry. Thank you. Thank you, Trisha, for being here and for your comments. Used to love her, but it's all over now. I've been using the price increases as a call to action. It creates urgency for homeowners to sign the contract and lock in their prices. Good. What if you can't start before the price increase? Waterfall, $7 million worth of your business wants to avoid the price increase before the next month. I mean, you can try that, but I would use price increase as a leverage. That's something that's tangible. You can show it to the homeowner. They can't argue with it. I would definitely play off that. You guys know that inflation is a real thing. The cost of everything is going up. It's not just about inflation. What we see this year, it's nothing to do with inflation. It's actually profit margins. Like I study car industry like crazy. And if you look at the car industry, like Mercedes-Benz, they will sell like $1 billion of GLE, the most profitable car. So they're like the same goes with the trucks, with everybody else. So you can buy cheaper car, like $20,000-$30,000 cheaper. But if you, it's the same basis. It's all marketing. It's all, like in the roofing industry, we make money on upsells and warranties, stuff like that. And it goes for others. So like, if you look what's happening in 2021, it's not just inflation. Start asking for more dollars instead, as always trying to be the lowest quote. And who the hell needs 3 tab these days? You use some HR. Yes, sir. Sorry, I'm just rushing through. I'm trying to give everybody attention and comments, and I have to go. I have to take my kids to CrossFit in 30 minutes. Heath Gover. Over circulation of the currency is the definition of inflation. Rising prices merely the symptoms. Carlton Martin says, it's common sense if you're in business. Don't you do the same thing with your competitors? The problem is competition sometimes don't want to do it, and it's hard to compete against them because there's so many of us. There's not so many of ABCs out there, manufacturers. So it's much easier for them. It's much harder for the contractor because so many of us. You always get those customers who are not obedient to the fluctuations and lack of control in the supply chains, and they will wait and delay. We update as prices change, challenging to keep up though. It's very challenging. 7 price per year. It's very. 1000% price fixing is real. I was an outside salesman for one of the suppliers listed. The manufacturers and suppliers are all in bed together, Larry Pittman said. And you're entitled to an opinion. That was my opinion about 6 months ago. Brad Shell, rooftop, load in advance. Great advice. Collaboration is the only mechanism to overcome fixes. Yes, sir. Contractor used to put 3-tab on to keep in storm friendly for the next guy or even themselves if they maintain presence in that geographical market area. Trisha has been very active today. Thank you, Trisha, for your time. Just got another update from supplier, another 15% increase on shingles. Tyler Ellison, we all have it in all markets. Crazy. Abundance mentality versus scarcity mentality. Absolutely. How you treat each other is how would customers treat you. Economics 101, supply, demand, and price. All right, guys, I have to apologize. You've been super active today. Give it a like, share, comment. I'm going to keep reading below. It's one of those days. I don't know if channels go around too big. We're 44,000 subscribers. Please follow us on Instagram. Follow us on YouTube. Facebook. We appreciate the community. We've become to the point where I cannot even read all the comments during live, which is probably a good thing. If I would not be in the time crunch right now, I would keep continuing. I just wanted to share my opinion because it has changed, and I wanted to share. And hopefully, someone found this feed today. The comments was super valuable, and the topic today. You guys are amazing. I appreciate all of you. Hope to see you guys in Las Vegas next week. Roofing Insights team is coming. You have amazing the rest of the week. Hope to see you in Las Vegas. Have a good one, guys. All right, help me out, guys, here. Oh, perfect. Выключил, да, микрофон?